Hey guys, it is I, Kuroninja, and I'm back with a new video. But this time, I'm not gonna be talking about Super Sentai or even Tokusatsu. I'm gonna be doing something different. Now last year, I made a video about Idol College, and this time I want to make another tier list. But instead of the members of Idol College though, I'm going to be doing a tier list on the Idol College costumes. Now I couldn't find any good pictures for the costumes, which means that you get to see my terrible drawing skills. I'm also gonna be giving some fun facts related to some of the costumes because I rarely get the chance to talk about stuff outside of Tokusatsu that I'm interested in. Oh, and one more thing. There are some costumes that I didn't put on the list either because they were too hard to draw or because I don't really consider them a costume. There are some Idol College outfits that are just t-shirts, so I didn't put them on the list. Also, I have no idea if the costumes have any official names, so I'm gonna name them based on the songs associated with the costume. And with that out of the way, let's start at the very bottom in the F tier. Okay, so the only costume that I put in the F tier is the True End Player costume. Personally, I don't think the colors go well together in this costume. The song itself is okay though. I think True End Player was the opening theme for a video game. It is also the only thing I know about that video game. And now that F tier is complete, it's time to move to the D tier. Just like in F tier, I only put one costume in D tier, and this costume isn't really associated with a particular song. It's more associated with a subgroup of Idol College that used to exist, and coincidentally, the subgroup itself is known as Team D. You see, Idol College used to be divided into three groups, Team I, Team D, and Team C, and when you combine those three letters together, you get the average response that I get whenever I talk about something that isn't related to Super Sentai. Anyway, when I first got introduced to Idol College in 2018, I was a big fan of Team D. In fact, out of all the Idol College members, I only knew the members who were in Team D. If only I knew that two of my favorite members of Idol College would be from Team C instead of Team D. Anyway, even though I'm a fan of Team D, I'm not really a fan of the Team D costume for some reason. I'm only putting it in the D tier because it looks better than the True End Player costume. As you can see, the F tier and the D tier only have one costume in each of them. This means that most of the costumes aren't that bad. But now we're going to the C tier, which isn't bad, just okay. Now, at C tier, we've got more costumes than both F tier and D tier combined, but it's still not a lot compared to the higher tiers. First, we've got the Ichizu Recipe costume. Ichizu Recipe is one of Idol College's most popular songs, but I feel like it's only popular because it's an anime opening. I also don't have any strong feelings about the costume either. Personally, I think there are a lot of Idol College songs that I like more than Ichizu Recipe, and one of those songs is Wonderful Story. And speaking of Wonderful Story, its costume is also average, which is a shame because Wonderful Story is one of my favorite Idol College songs. Then we've got this costume. I have no idea what it's for, but I know it exists. I put it in the C tier because I had no idea what to say about this costume. And lastly, in the C tier, we've got this costume from the song that was used as the opening song to a spin-off of the video game that uses True End Player as an opening. I don't remember what the song is called, but I know it has something to do with zombies. This costume doesn't really remind me of zombies though. When I see this costume, it reminds me of this character from some bullet hell series that my Earth Zero and Earth 10,000 counterparts are a fan of. I think her name is Koishi Komeiji or something. Alright, so that was C tier. The B tier and A tier are gonna have way more costumes than every other tier, so prepare yourselves. We are about to go into the B tier, and there's a lot of costumes I have to talk about. Alright, so there's gonna be a lot of costumes in B tier and A tier, starting with this one. I forgot what song this costume's associated with because the song has a very long name, but I know that the music video for this song was the first music video where Shioka Ishizuka made her appearance. It's also the first generic idol college costume, and it's not bad, but it's not the best either. Up next is the Ame no Chihare costume. This is one of the earliest idol college costumes, and I think it looks good, but not as good as the other classic idol college costumes. Ame no Chihare is also an okay song. Personally, the chorus sounds amazing, but the rest of the song doesn't fit in with the chorus. Next, we've got the other costume that appears in that zombie video game song. I like this one better than the other because it doesn't remind me of a Toho character. It also has the same vibes as someone who's better than me and I know it. The classic idol college costume is okay. I put it in the B tier because it's the oldest idol college costume on this list, so I have to put it on the B tier because it's basically the standard for the rest of the idol college costumes. But it's not as good as the next costume. And that costume is the Yozora costume, which is associated with my favorite idol college song, Yozora. Yozora sounds like something you'd hear at the end of a TV show. And I love this song because it's catchy and easy to play on the piano. The only thing I don't like about this costume is that the colors are too bright. But since Yozora is my favorite idol college song, this costume goes in the B tier. You know, I just noticed that most of the old idol college costumes look like school uniforms while the new ones look more like idol costumes. Now I was unsure whether or not to put this costume in the tier list. This costume represents Hop Pass, which was a subunit of Idol College in 2019. I have no idea if it still exists or not, and the color scheme is okay. It reminds me a little of the villains from Jetman. Other than that, there's nothing special about the Hot Pass costume. Speaking of 2019, the Masquerade costume is also in the B tier. This costume isn't the best, but I still like it because Masquerade is a good idol college song. Not only does the name remind me of Lupin Ranger, but I also made a drum cover of the song. And last but not least for B tier, we've got this costume I don't know the name of. All I know is that the 4 new members who debuted in 2019 wore this costume, and one of those 4 new members, whose name is Mikoto Yamada, would eventually become one of my most favorite idol college members. Alright, B tier is over, and that was a lot of costumes, but it's still nothing compared to what I put in the A tier. Okay, so starting off, we've got the costume for the song Tokunatsu Joshi Kibo. I know that this song is summer themed and the costume goes well with the song. Next, we got that costume from the end of 2018. It inspired my Earth Zero counterpart to create an original character that looks like me but light themed. This costume also has a variant that was slightly harder to draw. Overall, I think it looks good and I can see how it inspired the Kuroninja of Earth Zero. The Fantastic costume is the opposite of the Wonderful Story costume because although I don't like the song, I love the costume. It reminds me of the Morning Musume costume that they used for the song Brand New Morning. The music video for Fantastic feels like a fever dream, so I don't think you'll like it, but the costume is really cool. Akatsuki also has a really good costume. The colors go very well together. It also makes me feel a bit nostalgic since I was first introduced to Idol College in 2018. To me, Akatsuki is like the inverse of Yozora. While Yozora sounds like something you'd hear at the end of a TV show, Akatsuki sounds like the opening theme to a TV show. It gets even better when you know the meaning of the words. Next, we've got the Shoujo Sotsugyo costume. It looks like the classic Idol College costume, but better. The costume also looks better than the Yozora costume, and as for the song itself, I already made a cover of that song, and I can even play it on the drums. Next is the latest Idol College costume as I'm making this video, the Goes On costume. This costume never showed up in the music video until the end of the song. I like the song because it sounds very motivating. And finally in the A tier, we've got the Niji no Tokimeki no Fest costume. I really love this costume, especially because of the color scheme. But the only thing keeping it in the A tier is the fact that it first appeared in 2016. And in 2016, there was also another costume that looks better than this costume. And that's all for the A tier. But it's not over yet. We still have to talk about my top 3 Idol College costumes, and all of them are in the S tier. Alright, it's now time for the top 3 Idol College costumes. The ones in B tier and A tier are already good, but the ones in S tier are the best of the best when it comes to Idol College costumes. First, we've got the alternate version of the Goes On costume. Now you might be wondering why I like this one better than the other one. The reason why is because this one has silver accents. In my opinion, silver is better than gold. Another reason why I like the costume is because it's the one that Mikoto Yamada wore when Idol College was promoting the song. Next up is this Idol College costume, which came from Idol College's album in 2016, which is called Idol College. However, I'm gonna call this the Gamushara Fighter costume, since it's used in the music video for Gamushara Fighter. This costume has a really good design, the colors go very well together, and the music video it appears in is also the first music video where Haruna Sato appeared. And finally, the best Idol College costume in my opinion is the Tomei Shoujo costume. Whenever I think of Idol College, the Tomei Shoujo costume is the first one that appears in my head. It has a really good design, and it also reminds me of when I first began listening to Idol College music. Alright, so it looks like my Idol College costume tier list is finished, and here's what it looks like. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, I have nothing to do with Kuroninja.